Two unemployed actors, two unemployed actors. They're just between projects.
Welcome back to Two Unemployed Actors. I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And we've got some interesting updates for you, another movie review and bits and pieces today, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
First of all, I remember mentioning last week that I had an audition for a comedy sketch group, a theatre group. I don't know how many more I'm just going to put in. I was looking forward to it because it sounded amazing, and the person who's running it ran the same thing in another country and got, it worked. This time it's going to be bigger in that, writers are writers, directors are directors, producers are producers, and stage managers, and everyone sort of stays in their lane. Mm-hmm. Less slashies, so you can actually just focus on the acting because the writing's been polished and all that sort of stuff. But obviously with opportunities to do a bit of improv here and there, that sort of stuff, like lots of rehearsals to sort of explore what works, what doesn't work. And then when you're on stage, you might not know where it ends up, but at least you've got an idea and you can all bounce off each other because that's what you've been doing in rehearsals with different sketches. Yeah. So it sounded like a fun challenge. I thought this is cool and doing lots of interest. So, there were several groups over the weekend going in. I was one of the first groups. And it was interesting because, I don't know, there were more people in the room than there were in the group auditioning, which is okay. Mm-hmm. Like, a director, a cameraman, a couple of writers, I think. One of them was a writer. The producer, the person pulling it all together. And that's cool. That's cool. And I noticed, though, that when they said, get it together in your group, we're going to start filming your intros, that sort of stuff. The camera was really close. Like, it's like, how when you do self-tape, like the camera's kind of right there. Yeah. And that sort of limits where you can move. Because obviously you're supposed to be rather still and just let, your acting do the talking. Yeah. Depending on what you're auditioning for. But I'm like, well, that's interesting. Like, because theatre is bigger. Yeah. Comedy sketch theatre, especially when you're doing improv and stuff, is like, you don't know what you do. You don't even know where you might end up.
No. So the camera was that close.
Yeah. And anyway, so it's okay. I had a couple of, I had this, first of all, then they're like, oh, have you got something to remember us by, sort of thing. I'm like, oh, I'll just pull out my CV, sort of thing. Okay. And then, because you know what you're like, you always carry around a headshot CV, just in case someone is, the lollipop lady happens to also be a part-time assistant for a producer or something. And then it was kind of straight into it. And they gave us the two sketches, so I'd practiced it a different way, and I've notes on the script and highlight stuff. They did the usual warm-ups, just imagine all of us in a group, form a circle, let's do this, blah, blah, warm-ups, intros, and that sort of stuff. And then it was sort of into it a bit. And they gave you a few exercises, and she'd sort of say something, and then someone else would step in, like the camera guy would go, well, actually, do it this way. And I could see a bit of tension, like it's kind of like... Oh, no. I understood where she was from, like give them... this. Everyone gets the same scenario, the same brief background. Yeah. And from that... what they choose to do with it, what their choices are, says a lot about how they work. Yeah. And how and how I could see them fitting in. Yeah. And how good they are at improv. And how funny their choices might be. And how quick they are. Because sometimes there was, person A says something, pause. Person B says something, pause. But like that you just die on stage. Yeah. So it's bang, 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 sort of stuff. So, I mean, I kind of got the premise straight up, but it was just a bit hard to work. Like, I'll give you an example. Going through one improv sketch, and then just towards the end, I'll stop. And the person who was a director, introduced as a director, gets up off the couch, walks across and says, look, just make sure that you're all standing here on this line because that's where you're in focus. If you're beyond that line, you're going to be out of focus. And I'm kind of like, well, I've got theatre brain switched on. Yeah, and I'm making these huge choices. I'm running and jumping even with my shoulder. Well... that's the thing, I didn't. Because you're in an audition. I don't want to be that guy. You know what it's like where it's 50-50. You say something and like, oh, okay, that's constructive. Yeah, okay, well, actually we're filming because we're thinking of maybe doing a web series. We want to see how you go. I don't know, but... or he knows what he knows what he wants. Yeah, exactly, he knows how to or not a team player.
This guy's making our life harder.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I just went with it anyway. And it was kind of focused on Theatre Max. Mm-hmm. But in the background, I'm like, make sure you're mindful of the camera.
Yeah, that's so odd.
It was a bit.
Because like most theatre auditions are filmed because they want to watch it back and review and see what they want. But they don't tell you to stay in one spot.
But it's not all about the camera. No. And you must make sure that you're focused on where the camera is,
No,
so that you know where your mark should be relative to the camera, not to the premise of the sketch and where you are on stage.
If they want to see how you interpret the character in the story and the whatever, then don't make you focus on the camera.
And I got interrupted again because I was doing something and I was going to turn around, whatever. And I was like, stop. And you need to favour the camera. So basically what she was saying was I need to turn to angle more towards the camera so they could see my profile clearer.
That's very weird.
It was a bit. But anyway, look, I sort of walked out and was kind of like, as I'm riding home on my lovely little Vespa, I was kind of, my head was clearing a bit. Everything's falling into place. I'm kind of like, yeah, that was a bit different. Especially because everything was introduced as, we've done this before. We're experienced. We blah, blah. And, we're going to put more into it this time and do 6 months of theatre travels. And then after that, we'll, maybe look at festivals and saying the right thing. But then in the doing, it was kind of a bit disjointed. But anyway, look,
it's weird.
Whatever happens next. And if it's let's come and chat, well, I will. And I'll have a, look-see in that. Because I respect anyone who puts themselves up and says, hey, I'm going to start something.
Yeah.
Where it's so hard to.
Yeah.
All that entails. Everyone was nice and pleasant. So it was just a bit awkward. Maybe it's because it was the first time that group of people were together.
Maybe they don't work well together, yeah.
Or just because it was the first, like the training wheels and that, because we were the first group and it was the first session and the first time they're all together, and maybe it's more about their dynamics and how they were trying to prove themselves.
Was it just before lunch and they were really hungry? They were hangry.
It was.
Was it?
Yeah, but I'm sure it wasn't that. Oh my God, how unprofessional.
Well, like you said the other day, or last year, you were talking about something that you went to and they said, "Oh, we forgot to have lunch." And
yes, that's right. That was an
for
agent.
Creative people.
That was a casting director. Yeah, and the assistant had booked in auditions back to back from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then I get this message going, "Forgot to factor in lunch." First of all, kudos to them, and it's a great look behind the lens to see exactly what they have to go through.
Yeah.
Spending a day organising it all and choosing the right people, the right talent to come in and that sort of stuff, and then launching the same thing over and over again every 5 minutes from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But yeah, you're right. That's right. I said to the agent, let's do it after lunch, after they come back a bit fresh and a bit of an idea of what they've seen and what they like.
That's why I think some of the best spots in auditions would be first up or last. So first, fresh, last, they're like, wow, this was the last one. They're ready for it.
Yeah.
Or just after lunch. And then you're good. Anything else in between, you may as well not even go.
These tips are for free, people. Aren't you lucky?
You may as well, if your agent puts you in between any of those times, just don't go.
Just don't go.
Your acting doesn't matter.
Or just turn up after lunch and say, hey, don't you know who I am?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here for the slot.
Yeah.
The audition spot.
It's like prime time on TV. That's what it's like.
all these actors turning up at lunch.
Obviously not to this extent, but it factors in. Definitely. If you have auditions from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., obviously with breaks and stuff,
I know.
you're going to get tired of seeing the same thing.
I know in this industry,
and if you're not different,
it makes 1% of difference. People will go for it, because everything counts.
But people say that about self-tapes too, and they see the same self-tape, same introduction. Hi, my name is whatever. My agent is whatever. Here's my height. For some random reason. And then, if you do something different, even if it's so dumb, so stupid, maybe you do a random dance at the beginning of your thing, at least they're going to get interested and be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then watch it.
They'll stay awake.
It's like those commercials you see. It's like, this is so bad. But it's so bad that you're talking about it. And that's their aim, make it really bad is my point.
Make it bad just after lunch. So yes, that was it. That was interesting. I feel like I had to get that off my chest straight away because it was bugging me.
No, that's very okay.
It's kind of
podcast is our therapy as well.
It's our therapy.
Yes,
and you're our therapists. Congratulations.
You don't talk back though.
Probably better that way. So it was interesting, and then it was just about I've done everything I've completed everything pre-pilot season that I needed to, so that was done. We covered that last week in our part 1 update, I suppose, and it was about getting lots of voiceover auditions done and a couple of jobs organised, that sort of thing. So
good stuff.
It was kind of like almost back to normal now, back into the normal routine. And the good thing is with the play coming up, it's still there's still moments of me walking around in circles, script in hand, trying out stuff. Yeah,
we're getting back into it. I got my headshot haircut,
Brilliant.
ready to go. So
it's one more step towards new headshots.
Mm-hmm.
It counts.
I booked it for Friday, so I have it Friday morning. So I was going to book it like a bit more than a week away, so I booked this last week. But she had someone who hadn't booked yet between these 2 days, and so I would have either had to wait a week or like.
And you're like, no, damn it, I've made up my mind. I need it ASAP now.
Gotta do it now.
I've gone from procrastination to power. Just get it done.
Exactly. And I went to my normal hairdresser, but there was a different lady doing my hair.
No.
I know. And I was like, oh, please be good. And I showed her a photo. I'm like this.
Oh,
and she's like,
I got it. I don't do that.
I do that because I like it in some photos.
And how was that photo of Brad Pitt? Did it look like the...
I actually have shown a photo of someone of Brad Pitt for my hair. And that was for...
I want to make me look like him.
Yeah. That was for an undercut, like an undercut.
Oh,
okay.
Thing.
I showed the photo of him in Fury.
I think I've had the same haircut for 20 years.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just getting more grey.
Yeah, so I showed her that, and she did it, and it was really good, and I'm really happy with it. And I'm ready for my headshots, and then hopefully that lasts me another. I emailed Kate Williams, who did my headshots, and I was like, "Hello, you remember me?" Whatever. I said a good thing, and I was like, I was really happy with my last headshots. You did it 2 years ago, and I got heaps of mileage out of that.
Brilliant.
So I'd like to do that again. She got back to me, and that was great. So I put a deposit in. I'm going for it.
That's good. That's good, because last week it's like I wasn't sure if you're going to do it even like in a month's time. Like,
I had to do it. No,
and here you are a week later. You've got it all sorted. So brilliant.
And I started my show reel as well. Like, I'm waiting for Not Today to come back, the short film I did and all that stuff. But I started it. It's really cool. When I did that UNSW law promo, it has some really cool slow motion shots of very different scenarios. So I've like mixed them into it, and it's really cool. And it's in slow motion. And I chose I looked up like showreel songs or whatever, like music in the background. And I didn't want to use something that everyone uses or something that's been used. So I decided to like think outside the box. And I went for like a John Mayer song, No Such Thing.
Okay.
Like back, like without the vocals.
Yep.
It's so good. It works so well. There's like a good drum beat, and it starts nice and calm. It's pretty cool. And I have us. So I have us in. I got to show you it.
Will you be able to put it up? Could we put it up on our Facebook?
Probably. Yeah. Once it's done, I don't. I'm summing up
the pressure now.
I'm summing up.
It's like last week. I know. You put it out into the universe, so you have to do it.
I'm summing up whether to put it up before I get the Not Today footage and then just re-upload it.
Yeah. I reckon something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that it's always going to evolve.
Okay.
Like there's always bits that you go, why did I put that in? And or moments where you're like, I've got this new, 30-minute bit, but I only want 3 minutes are good, and after that 3 minutes I'll put these other scenes in. Like there's always bits you're dropping in and bits you're taking out and changing the order and that sort of stuff.
I've put some theatre photos. You're not meant to put photos in showreels,
well,
are you? Like if they just pop up, is that like okay?
Really? It can really be as basic as just a couple of scenes that you film self-tape.
Yeah, I know.
If they're good scenes, you've nutted them out. You've got, it's working well for you. It shows a range.
Yeah.
That and what I like to do is put like it's just a really quick, because they see so many show reels.
Yeah.
You don't want to have 5 minutes of intro titles and photos and just get to the acting. I want to see acting.
Yeah.
So I've got it's a really quick, it's just my headshot and my name, and I think I've got the agent in there as well, and just it really quickly transitions straight into a scene.
Yeah, cool.
And speaking to a casting director who kind of said your show was kind of back the front, flip it a bit, because I had the Finder television commercial in that I did, really low budget. They didn't want to use agents. I found it on Star Now, and you can see it in the footage. Like it's like me turning up on set with the beard, because I said we want you to don't shave, and I didn't. And I didn't even trim and style a beard at all, because I thought, well, they'll take care of that depending on how they want to look on the day.
Yeah.
And they didn't. So I just looked like this scruffy guy just telling you about home loan refinancing. Which in itself is difficult to make sound
dodgy.
interesting. I know. Yeah. So, and I had that up front. It's like, oh, look, I've got a television commercial. I'll put that right at the front, look at me.
But it looked...
And he's gone, bury it. He said, put. There's a bit where you've got, it was the short film we did at
Who is this? Who are you talking to? Like
Greg Apps.
So just a...
And I had a one-on-one with him, and before that one-on-one, I had sent him my CV, links to some of my stuff, some of my work, my show reel. Casting director.
How did you get a one-on-one with him to talk about your show reel?
So he's got
like a
audition
program.
technique is a program, and you can do as much or as little to get information on what's happening, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I ended up with a one-on-one because I got to the stage where I was feeling a bit comfortable, and I thought I need to kick up the backside.
Okay.
So I'll just put it all out there and say, I'm ready. Give me the feedback. And he sort of said, look, what you're doing behind the scenes. You got the business bit, you got the acting bit, you got some good footage, but it's just a bit inside out. Okay. So part of that process was him sort of suggesting how I could make the show reel a bit more engaging, not by getting additional content or dropping stuff, but it's kind of like, look, a few people are going to get to the end of it anyway. Let's be real. And it was about 2.5 minutes, so it's kind of normal.
But you put your headshot and stuff at the beginning. Right?
Headshot at the beginning, just really quickly, because no one wants to sit through ages of amazing titles and effects. It's like, that's not what they want. They want to see you an actor. Yeah. And so it was basically, there was a 60-second film. Literally, it was a 60-second short film I did at AFTRS for someone's masters. And because they were a special effects editor, they want to do more directing, hence them doing this postgrad course. Okay. But the effects were amazing. It was really good. Cool. And there was a moment like where I'm looking into the doll's house, and you can see the footage from the doll's house looking up. There's my eye coming down to it. He's like, put that at the start, because that's kind of like, oh, what's going on? Who's this guy? Yeah. What's going to happen next?
The thing with mine is...
And bury the bloody Finder TVC right down the end. And so it was kind of all right.
The funny thing with mine is like I have a TVC and I have some short film stuff, but I did it like 3 years ago. So I look completely different and a lot younger. Yeah. So I can't put that in anymore. Like with you.
Yeah.
It's you different. Won't change.
It's different.
Like
I'm a middle-aged man. Like, come on. So it's not too. There's bits with Maxi with his scruffy beard playing a scruffy character.
But that's cool.
Bits where I'm clean shaven doing a corporate bit.
That's good.
I've got a corporate, well, kind of. It's a presenting to camera show reel now, where I've got just bits of the Finder and bits of a corporate job or two. Okay. Worked into it. Okay. So if the agent's got something about presenting to camera, or if I find something offline about it, then I can just send them that footage, because I'm finding with voiceover work and such, like there's this, they want the corporate guy to, whether it could be instructional videos presenting to camera or whatever. It's great to have that as well. Like, so I sort of look at what I could do, what the market has an opportunity for, and because you're a small business and you're advertising. Well, I'm going to advertise my presenting to camera skills, because that'll fill that niche that's got demand.
I don't think people understand how much of a business acting actually is. Right. Like in yourself, that's your own business, and you got to sell yourself. And there's so much behind the scenes work as an actor, to get yourself out there.
It's the iceberg.
It's not just the acting.
People only see the success on television.
The acting is the minuscule part. Like once you get that,
they don't see all the work below the surface, all the stuff to make it look easy. And the more you know what you're doing, the less it looks like you're doing anything.
Yeah, it's like an iceberg. Exactly.
Just kind of annoying, but real.
No, I have us in the show reel, and I have like our intro, the new one that you've done with the red things come up, and then I have like kind of us introduced. So one introduction of like, welcome back to Two Unemployed Actors. I'm Max, I'm Sam, and then it skips to another one. It's saying the same thing, and it skips. It's like, welcome back. I'm Sam, and then shows like, so it's showing a bit of us and then us laughing. The Christmas one, the couple there, and it only takes up about like 10 seconds. But it's really cool. It just shows all our kind of footage, which is nice.
Good.
It works pretty well. I've like timed it so, because there's a part in the song right at the beginning where it goes, I don't even want to do it. It's like bring, and like makes a cool sound, and I've like timed it so there's a shot where my eyes look up from
it's good.
The
have fun with the edit.
Kind of
Spend time on it, because
make it satisfying.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're happy with it, you're more likely to tell everyone and anyone. Put it up on all your socials. Put it up on your Facebook. Send it to the agent. Send it to everyone. Yeah, and
I have a couple of self tapes in there, but I'll put some more as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's worthy of a podcast in itself. The fact that you touched on it, that it's a business. Yeah. And you're really like a small business. And with 20 years behind me in the old corporate world, and I just had a shudder then when I said that. It is exactly, if you approach it with that mindset, I think you can appreciate it more, because I think that's sometimes the gap where you're so focused on the craft, you forget that there's all these other things you can do to help open doors to do more of your craft and more of what you love to do. So and obviously, if you're enjoying the business stuff more than the acting stuff, or maybe you've got a role behind the camera. But I reckon we should dedicate a podcast in a few weeks' time to the business.
We should.
The business behind it.
applied for a couple of auditions this week as well.
So had a couple of auditions last week.
No, just applied.
Oh yeah.
I applied. I put me and Bella forward, my dog Bella, for a food commercial with Citizen Jane casting, and CC'd my agent. I found it on like Sydney Auditions on the Facebook page or whatever. So put us forward for that. So hopefully I'll get something back from that. They put me through to the next round, which is like answering a questionnaire. So that was pretty good. So hopefully get a casting out of that. And my agent emailed me last week and said that there's a TVC coming up, a charity one. I mean, like you still get paid, but it's for charity.
Yeah.
It's this Tuesday, as in today. And I hadn't heard from him. So I emailed him this morning. I said, "Is this still on?" And he's like, "I'm about to email you the details." So that's today. I've got an audition today at 1:30. So that's pretty cool.
Straight back into it. I mean, it's still January, and
exactly,
and everyone's back in full swing. I mean, the corporates are back, and television commercials are starting. All the castings fresh, and because there was always a rush before Christmas to get stuff shot before.
Exactly. But this particular audition today, right? It's for 15 to 18-year-olds,
right? More
on the younger side of 18.
Yep.
Because it's for.
So you got to look like a mid-teen.
I was like, I haven't shaved, but I want a bit of stubble for my headshots.
Yep.
So I'll have to try and get around that. Anyway.
Because it takes you about a month to grow the stubble.
So. No. It's like a week, actually.
So you'd be screwed if you,
It's a week to get like a millimetre, okay.
And then you're going to shave so that you get a few clean-shaven headshots as well?
What, like midway through the...
Two different looks.
Do people do that?
Yeah.
In the street?
I actually went back because I'd shaved... Because I wanted, it's obviously, businessman, doctor, lawyer, corporate, so I shaved to get all of those looks. And then a photographer said, look, why don't you come back in a couple of weeks, grow your beard a bit.
Okay.
I did that. I came back and guess what the hero shot ended up being out of the whole set?
The one
with the beard. And I still use it now.
Yeah.
It's I'm wearing a black jacket, black t-shirt, and I've got the beard, and I'm kind of doing my best blue steel that I could possibly do.
Okay.
But yeah, I still throw that one around.
Yeah, I'll have to figure that out.
In fact, I have to be careful sometimes because sometimes my agent, to freshen up my showcast or casting networks, just changes the headshot.
Okay.
Because it makes it look a bit more fresher. Seeing the same headshot again and again for months as the casting directors keep looking. So it does work, but I've got to keep checking because sometimes I'll turn up and there they are, and you can see you printed out, your details printed out, and there's me with a beard, and I'm standing there clean shaven at the casting. Always want to be the guy who looks like the headshot. But I mean, look, that's you can sort that. But people do that. But in fact, when I went to Sally Fleet, because I did them all clean shaven, then she said, yeah, absolutely, different looks.
Yeah,
completely. No, it just depends what you're after. Like again, know what you get cast for.
Yeah.
Even talk to your agent, like what sort of stuff, like maybe a more commercial shot. And then maybe there's some more character driven shots, because really, like you said before, we're a business and that's advertising for us.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we advertising to?
Yeah.
What are we saying that we can? What need are we filling? Yeah, you just got
to figure out what you. Yeah, exactly.
So food for thought for Friday.
That is food for thought, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I can see the machine working.
It's working hard.
Well, you're still awake, so that's good.
And I applied. Yeah, exactly. And I applied for an audition through Backstage. I don't know if you've heard it. You've heard of Backstage?
Yeah, I'm on Backstage. I've had a look. I haven't really got anything amazing.
No, because it's mostly
unless
American
I wanted
driven.
to work in Disney World Paris or something.
Yeah, but there's worldwide ones as well. And I applied for one in the UK, like a clothing brand commercial shoot. Okay. So I didn't want to pay for another. Also, I can probably get off Showcast now because like no one. My agent doesn't use Showcast.
Don't know, because
do you reckon?
My agent just got excited about Showcast because they've unlocked more features.
Okay, forget it. I'm not going to go.
So yeah,
but I've got Star now, Casting Networks, and Showcast.
Yeah. I definitely Showcast and Casting Networks. I think for Australia, I think that's
very important. Actually, that's true. But for Backstage, there was a 6-month free for blah 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 blah, and now Australians as well. So I've done this 6-month free trial, no credit card needed. So like it won't kind of start charging me after 6 months. It just will stop. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, now for 6 months, I've got this free trial with Backstage, and I put all my stuff on again. I spent a whole morning just moving everything that I have on like Casting Networks to. There's been a couple of things. There's
having all these.
What's weird seeing like Chicago PD wants a dead body or something. It's like,
I'll kill myself.
I've got to move to Atlanta. It's like,
I've literally got a list of profiles to update. I've got IMDb, Showcast, Casting Networks, Vimeo, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, voices.com.
It's been there for so long.
And I've got to add Backstage. And is Star now on there? No. So
it's
because if I change headshot and have this headshot, it's on my business card, it's on It's on my website. It's on my... I want to change and make everything else the same.
Yeah.
If I add a new short film or a television commercial or something, I want to add it in all the right places. So I literally have to have a list now of all the profiles so that I know
that's good.
what to update. Because you never know where... Like, I've had opportunities come from all sorts.
I didn't even use Twitter. I probably should.
Well, it's not really big in Australia.
No. It's only big in America, really.
I think I've got all of 26 followers. I'll keep it together, Fred. And 26 followers. I think we've got, as to Unemployed, we've got a Twitter handle, and it's...
Yeah, we do.
I think both of us following it, and that's good. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, someone else, not you.
At least we know what we're doing.
I went to see Bombshell a couple of weeks ago. And because, there's a couple of Aussies in there, Nicole Kidman, Margot Robbie, but Charlize Theron as well. And a real standout, John Lithgow as the Roger Ailes, because it's basically about the period in Fox News where there was sexual harassment perpetrated by Roger Ailes and how the Murdochs sort of dealt with that.
Okay.
It's quite full on, obviously.
Okay.
It's a full on subject. Look, there's some scenes with Roger Ailes, where John Lithgow plays Roger Ailes, that are very uncomfortable to watch.
Oh, really?
And you could hear a pin drop in the cinema.
Oh, no.
It was just, oh my
That's
God.
the awkward thing about watching those sort of films with a bunch of random strangers as well. You're all like, oh my God, what am I doing?
But you don't even think about it. Like, it was only afterwards I'm like, oh my God, you could hear, like, and this was, everyone, like, popcorn, everything stopped.
Yeah.
It was like, everyone's like, holy shit. Because there's a level of, in the past, tolerance towards, you creepy old guy, you dirty old man, you know, your Uncle Letcher or whatever. But this was really creepy stuff. It's like, and you think to yourself afterwards, how the hell can people get away with it for so long? Because they're in such positions of power. Yeah. And the power imbalance is strong in the room, and people feel like they don't have a voice. They can't sort of speak up. So the courage these women showed to speak up, absolutely amazing. And I think it's definitely a film for anyone. Oh wow, it's like, it's full on. It still resonates. It's one where you still think about afterwards.
Oh, good. That's
and I
a good
think
film.
even more so because it's based on what actually happened.
Yeah, it's based on true story.
It's real stuff.
Okay.
So full on.
Yeah, I do
want to
see it. I do want to see it.
And great performances by Margot Robbie, Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, and John Lithgow.
Yeah.
John Lithgow, just oh my God, everything I see him in is just amazing. Whether it's comedy. Or whether it's huge drama, but like you really just wanted to punch this guy.
It must have been hard for him as well as an actor. You got to play that. You got to do that.
I mean, to be able to mentally sort of get out of that quickly, so that you can go home, hug the kids, whatever.
You have to mentally get into it quickly as well, because you wouldn't want to stay in that all day. You'd have to mentally get into it quickly for the action.
Yeah, you've got to do it safely
and get out of it, so you can be like, "I'm so sorry."
It's like, who was the guy who played Breaking Bad?
I still have not seen it, and I really should watch it.
Oh, what's his name? I've read his book. His autobiography's on the shelf, and I'm looking on the shelf, and I see everyone. Bill Clinton. That's kind of that's the political biography shelf, which could put a lot of people to sleep. It's sometimes more entertaining than the actor's biography shelf. Bryan Cranston. I was reading Bryan Cranston's autobiography. Bryan, who plays the lead in Breaking Bad. Yeah. And you're dealing with, especially some dark moments in this character's world as the series progresses.
Okay.
And he was all about, look, it's grueling, the hours on set. You're there early, you leave late, and you've got to go home, and you're not at home. You're at the hotel in Albuquerque, wherever they are, New Mexico. And then he's sitting in the bathtub with a glass of red, and that's how he sort of gets out of the character and back into Brian's world. And then go through bits of lines for the next day and make sure you're over it for the next day. So his routine was the glass of red helps, I suppose. Choose your weapon to help you stay in your toolkit to help you get out of a character that can be quite difficult.
Oh God.
I find music helps me. Like if I'm trying to get into a certain space before I walk on set, or if I'm trying to get out of a dark space that character was in afterwards, I'd put a bit of music on and
that's
a bit.
Like, obviously not to the extent of months on a set, but when I was doing Not Today, highly emotional and troubled kid and all this stuff. Like, after each shot, I was lucky enough that everyone was around my age and we could all joke around afterwards, but it helped a lot to have Jess there as well on set helping out.
That's good.
Because she was like almost, you know how people have those kind of like therapy people there on set with them?
Positive energy, and you're in tune with it, you know her so well.
Yeah, exactly. And it helped a lot. There was one moment where she had to go up and actually get something, and I finished a scene, and I was like, I wanted to see her. It would have helped
That's
a
really
lot.
cool.
And it's so interesting how if you're a good enough actor, you should get engulfed in the role that you're doing.
Exactly.
And in once action is said, be in it, and then getting out of it it's amazing how much it can actually take over. And
that's the challenge for us at the moment, because we don't always have the opportunity. We might get, the script the day of, the day before, and we might only get 5 times in a year to exercise our acting muscles on set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't get a lot of time, and you're the last consideration. And it's like, okay, now hop on, and because you got a walk on role of 2 words or something.
So let's do one rehearsal.
You've got from that end all the way to like Gary Oldman in The Darkest Hour, where he actually had a year to prepare.
Yeah.
So he actually said, "Look, I want to be paid for the year, get the advance, make sure that I can spend a whole year getting this character, enveloping me, so that I can be ready."
Yeah, the methods.
Exactly. So, you've got those 2 extremes, and some would say, when you really want it the most, when you really need it the most, is at the start of your career, up and coming. But you've got to work around what you do. You've got your survival job.
You
you've
can't
got
be
your
like, can you pay me
personal
for a year?
life. You've got all these other stuff distracting you, and you don't always have the time and the resources to prepare.
That's why you got to do your best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman's cool. He's so versatile.
Have you seen Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy?
No.
John Le Carre. Lots of his books on my bookshelf. Spy writer, absolutely amazing. Cold War stuff. Lots of his has been turned into movies, and Gary Oldman was in one of his Le Carre movies, and just playing. And it's more real spy than the Bourne, running around shooting people and stuff, because that's kind of like when you f***ed up is when you pull the gun and start shooting. Like, it's all done behind the scenes sort of thing. And that was really interesting. So somewhat and he did the screenplay as well. He helped write the screenplay as well, which helped make it a bit more bring a bit more of that realism and the grittiness to the screen. Because one thing about Le Carre when he writes, a lot of times describing characters in such unique ways, you can relate, or you can recognize someone in some sort of certain traits, and that it's very easy to get. And then as you really get to know the character, then it gets real.
Yeah, but it's interesting,
and that translated really well to the screen.
Okay, it's interesting to see some actors, take a year, for example, to get into a character.
Yeah.
And you've got. So I've been watching you at the moment, which is I'm watching you at the moment.
You're watching me, and you're watching Fred because he's in between us.
The TV show You about like a stalker and kind of masculinity, all that stuff. And Penn Badgley plays the main dude, and he was talking about how, and I've always learnt to not. You can't hate your character. You can't hate them. You can't judge them because you got to be them. You can't judge them, right? Because But he was like, I hate Joe, which is his character. Mm-hmm. That was interesting, but he still plays it really well. And he was saying how he would like one of the first days on set, him and his co-star Elizabeth Lale, I think. She was in bed, kind of in underwear, under covers, facing away, and he was full clothed, and he had to walk in a shot and just stare at her.
Creepy.
And they'd said action. He walked in a shot and just stood there, and then instantly he was saying, like, all the crew went, "Oh my God, oh, that's terrific, so terrifying." And he's like, "I didn't do anything." Like, he just stood there, and he's saying that, it's a creepy situation looking at a woman in a bed. Half naked and you fully clothed just staring is a creepy situation. If you put in that, it's going to look creepy no matter what you do. So he was saying how, like, he's kind of got into the role, but he doesn't have to do much. Like, he just stares. Like, his creepy look is him just looking. He's just not doing anything. So it's interesting how different roles require different things,
Yeah, and some actors need to put a lot of work into certain scenes, and some
don't as much. Yeah. But he's good. He is good, and I think his voice is a lot better than his main acting. He has a great voice, and he did start in voiceovers.
That's right, I mentioned it last week.
Yeah, he did like Mario Tennis or something. Yeah. But he was in Gossip Girls as well. Just throw that out there. But
because I saw the first episode of You, and then I haven't seen Gossip Girls, I will admit.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Probably not the target market.
No, doesn't matter. Watch it for the acting. Just say that. Watch it, start enjoying it, and then
Collateral
if someone
damage.
asks, you say,
I've been
"I'm
collateral
watching it for the
damage on
acting."
chick flicks for a lot of times. So yeah.
Like Twilight.
See, I can't. I don't know about Twilight.
I think I just like
get
the
into Twilight.
supernatural
So
aspect.
you grew
of
up
that.
with that. That's different.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm kind of.
I don't know.
Didn't.
Yeah.
I grew up with a Clockwork Orange and no.
I grew up with a clock.
Clockwork Orange and
I grew up with a clock.
and Stanley
we could
Kubrick
have.
movie and The
I just stare at the
Shining
clock.
and all those children's
The Shinings.
shows.
Children's. Goodness.
I'm Max,
I'm Sam.
and that was 2 Unemployed Actors. Bye bye.
See you guys.
2 unemployed actors.